All right, YouTube. Today we are outside. Such a nice day, end of October. Such a beautiful day. We are trying to take advantage of it. It's been cold and raining before. So we start putting solar panels. Some of the things here I figured it out by myself. And then with Samsung, it was easy to install it. So there was on YouTube, I don't remember what channel it was. There was this guy building similar solar array fields. I looked at it and figured out that simple Pythagoras theorem, grade 12 Pythagoras theorem, you will be able to figure out the angle. Basically, Pythagoras theorem, if you have the adjacent and hypotenuse are equal, you're gonna get 45 degree. In this area, I googled it. I went on internet and checked what is the ideal angle. It was supposed to be 46. That would mean using the tangent. I went half foot higher on the opposite, meaning this is 12 feet and a half, and then this is 12 feet. That will give me a 20 feet long angle at 46 degree, facing the sun south. And I used Samsung cutting the top part. I used my wife's iPhone to find the azimuth, the north, where the north is facing, and this area was an ideal place for it. So this is slightly northeast, slightly, not exactly north. The whole array is facing slightly, sorry, I apologize, southeast, slightly southeast, and I can see the sun rising from that area, right, and setting all around here on the angle there, and setting right about there. At some point, I probably, if I want to get the west side of the sun, I probably have to cut those trees off, right? But let's go, here you go with the installation. Now, the guy on YouTube, I don't remember his name, I don't remember his channel. He uses, if you Google solar array installation, you probably find it if you YouTube it, but he uses a U bolt. I couldn't find that in Canada. And the way he was using it was, I found it a little bit difficult. What I did was I traded rod, right, with one of this Z channel is called. It goes this way, down, and up the other side. And then bolts, right? Bolts and nuts. I mean, to figure this out in my head, I was sleeping. I slept like 2 months. I slept on it 2 months to figure out how I'm gonna come up with this kind of plate. I went to the store. I talked to the store people at the store who sell these things, and they gave me ideas. I was talking to them, and it's like, I want to start with the super strut. I asked him about super strut. One guy said only have 10 feet, and I finally talked to the right guy. He said, yeah, I have 20 feet, and he ordered it. It was out of stock. I mean, from the warehouse. So once I figured out I can get 20 feet super strut, then I was talking to them. I figured out that they have this plate, right? So I bolted the plate. Me and Samsung bolted this plate here in the middle, and then instead of using there's another spring insert here. I'm not using that. I use a bolt there. You can see that bolt, and then on the other side we cut a hole there, a washer, and tied it. So it looks like it came really neat, and it maintains that gap as well, because the next one that comes in is going to maintain that gap. What is it? Right there. So the next one gonna come here. It's gonna maintain that gap. So we're gonna keep going this way. So this is 42 feet. I was hoping I can get 8 solar panels, but it looks like I can only get 17. That means so if I get 17 here and another row of 17 on top, that would give me 4.5 kilowatts, and then the top part is for future expansion. Now, I'm not just putting solar panel, I'm also putting solar thermal heater, which is one of these evacuated tube ones, right? I have them here. So these ones, one of them will provide 2.5 kilowatts of energy. So one of them, so 2 of these will take up, one of them will take up a panel and a half, right? So these 2 of these are going to take up 3 panels of solar panel space, and will provide enough equal energy of 16 of these solar panels, basically. So it's rated for 2.5 kilowatts of energy each, right? Through using glycol, right? So I will be running glycol tubes, PEX tube, buried inside of a French channel, it's called. Inside, yeah, it's gonna go through here into the house. The flex is gonna be exposed. That flex tube is gonna be exposed out. It's flexed stainless steel tube, right? It's gonna come up and it's gonna go up there, and it's gonna be tied to the manifold. So this is a manifold here. We're gonna strip it in a minute. So this is the first video. The first part. I'm going to be continuing with this. Now, what we're going to do so far, we just attached all these using construction screws, right? So at any time this thing can fall apart. It's just been held by a construction screw. I have to bolt these things with proper bolts. So if I can show you as an example. So these are construction screws I'm using now. I have to put a couple of bolts in each side, and that goes the bottom and the top as well, right? And then on these supports as well, I plan to put bolts. Then we're gonna anchor each post that way and buried inside a concrete base, each post, and then that one also is going to be anchored that way also, right, and buried in concrete, and it's going to be another anchor in each corner of the field to account for this force, and then these anchors are going to account for this force, and then that much it be, and then for the distance between the poles, we're gonna put X, and it will account for all the other forces, and this will be rigid as hell. I waited until they put these lumbers on clearance. It's pressure treated lumber, and I got them on clearance half price. That's too cheap. So I mean, for the amount of solar panels it holds, it would have cost me triple the price if I were to buy one of those frames out there, right? Three times, it would have been 3 times the regular cost. Okay, so and the plan is, like I said, this is about 95 feet from the beginning of the field to the house is about 95 feet. So 12 gauge. Eventually it's going to go 1.5 feet to my panel. Sorry, 150 feet to my power panel in the house. That's how long the cable is gonna travel. So 12 gauge, it's not bad. Should be okay, I think, in terms of voltage drop. 150 feet is not bad for 12 gauge. All right, Samson, you know, he has lots of ideas. You know, he can figure things out so quick. We got this, you know, we're holding it with that bolt temporarily, so until we work, there's nothing is holding it right now. And he's putting together the solar panel. We're gonna put a couple of them, see how it goes. We're also gonna put like I said, the manifold up here. So it's just gonna be a manifold up here. That's about 7 feet. This is 3.5 feet. This solar panel, 7 feet. It's gonna take 10 feet of the 20 feet. And then the other half is for future expansion for more solar panels. I mean, I plan to put more solar panel I can't sell the disadvantage, one of the pro and con, if you are heating your hot water tank, you can't sell that energy to anybody, but solar panel, you can sell it to the grid. So that's why I'm going to put more solar panel in the future, upgraded to 12 kilowatts. That's how the maximum allowed in this area is 10 kilowatts. I could go up to 12 kilowatts and they will be okay with it. But with the solar thermal heater, if I go beyond 5 kilowatts of energy, I'll just be draining water outside because it's gonna overheat, and it's gonna, when it overheats the tank, it's gonna spit out the water outside. So I'm gonna be losing lots of water, right? So for that reason, only 5 kilowatts. The other extra that I have 4 of them. The 2 extra, I'm probably gonna end up selling it. We'll see how will be. This winter will be an experiment for me, like last winter. Last winter, the highest usage I had was 6,000 kilowatt hours in the summer. Sorry, in January alone. 6,000 kilowatt hours. I mean, I had a bunch of leak. I'm probably gonna have maybe half that this winter of energy usage because the house has been sealed like crazy. I mean, I'm gonna also add R60 in the ceiling, in the attic. So that's gonna, I mean, hugely improve the insulation value of the house. It wouldn't probably consume that same amount of energy it was consuming last year. But regardless, 5,000 kilowatt hours is what I used, and it's possible it could happen again as well. Okay, I mean, it'll probably be maybe 80% of that. I'm not sure. I'll find out. The experiment, I'll be experimenting how much of energy, how much of solar thermal I need, and how much of solar panels I need for electricity. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have more for solar panel because you sell it to the grid, right? Like, I mean, right now with net zero program, you don't sell it, but the government would offset your electric bill, right? That's the plan. Okay, so thank you. Please follow my channel. Hopefully this one will have a good amount of views, and this is gonna be an ongoing project, so I'll probably have more related to net zero plan for the house. Okay, thank you.